everybody, and welcome to That Dog Training Show with Tanya Yarbrough. And this is the show where we talk about the dogs we love and the stupid human behaviors we don't, also known as shubs. So, this is this episode number 64 called Belly Up. And if you aren't already following me, you can find me on Facebook at That Dog Training Show with Tanya Yarbrough and join up. And you're welcome to message me or send me questions or post questions on there, or even post some cool stuff that you find. If I hate it, I will delete it, but that has not yet happened, so we should be fine. And you can follow me at That Dog Training Show on Instagram, and also at Kazzi, K-A-Z-Z-I, Dog Train, T-R-A-I-N, on Twitter. So you can send me nasty messages there. So anyway, there are some upcoming classes for those of you who are in the Los Angeles area or nearby area at Blue Collar Working Dog. You can check it out at bluecollarworkingdog.com. September 26th, this Saturday, at 9 a.m. we have a CGC prep class as the AKC Canine Good Citizen prep class. So it does not include the test, but it will give you all the ins and outs of the test, how to pass it, how to train your dog to make sure they pass it. And this is something that's kind of a nice thing to have, so that when you are, especially if you're an apartment dweller, you rent a home, it's nice to have that Canine Good Citizen test on your belt so that you can actually prove that your dog is non-aggressive. Also on October 3rd, which is the following week on Saturday, a whole new Master Distraction class, Street Obedience and Basic Obedience. That's, it's getting to the end of the year. So if you are planning on actually taking these classes before the big holiday hiatus, I suggest you start jumping on the bandwagon, because you're going to miss your chance. We are going to skip over all the holiday sessions, so, you're probably going to be fine with your travel plans. October 11th, on the Sunday, we have our first puppy socialization class, Street Obedience, Basic Obedience, and Movie Tricks 1, which is a lot of fun. And that's just a 3-week course itself. So there's a lot of classes coming up, but I'm telling you right now, if you plan on having any classes done before the end of the year, you got to jump on the bandwagon really soon, like this coming month, because it's going to get all full, and then I have a bunch of skip dates, so there's not a lot of cycles left over. Alright, so I'm going to talk about a Shub's move for this week, which has been repeated. It's been done before, but I'm just going to, for those of you who've never listened to the show, this is the stupid human behavior move that most of you have probably experienced. So once again, I was walking my 2 dogs. I was forced onto the grass from the sidewalk with my 2 little dogs, while another woman with her small terrier just stood still on the sidewalk. By the way, that's illegal to block public access. So she was blocking public access because she refused to rein in her dog. So they kind of covered up the whole sidewalk. So she had her dog on the sidewalk lunge and bark towards my dogs while she was standing still. So she saw us coming, she was moving, we were moving, she decided to stop and just let her dog lunge and bark and focus on my dog. And meanwhile she's saying, "It's okay, it's okay, it's alright." So I moved my dogs past and said, "Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving." I've gotten more rude over the years, but people, you've got to stop doing these things. Having your dog block the territory of the sidewalk space, forcing the other pack to circle around you, is telling your dog that they own the territory, i.e. the sidewalk, which then turns your dog aggression, alright, that's already in your dog, to something more intense, because now they have to defend the said territory because you let them own that territory. Not only that, but having your dog stare at another dog as they avoid them causes them to be more hormonally amped. It's like staring at pornography. It doesn't calm the starer down. Staring gets the creature more excited. So you're going the opposite trying to do when you think you're calming your dog down. You're not. And finally, your high pitch, "It's okay, it's okay," is also useless for keeping your dog calm. Rather, it sounds like this to your dog. Furthering their need to be defensive, because now you sound like a wounded rabbit or wounded dog. So people, don't do that. Shubs, stupid human behaviors. Shubs are killing me everywhere I go. So, alright, back to today's belly up topic, belly up. So I've had a really interesting journey in this concept, this phenomenon, if you will, regarding the dogs who roll over and expose their belly. The common belief is that dogs that roll over to expose their belly are being submissive. That's the most common belief. It is basically an urban legend. Okay? My experience of the past 30 years does not match this concept at all. So let me distinguish the belly up behavior, which is our focus today, from the behavior of the dog opening their legs after petting them while laying on their side. If the dog is laying on their side and you reward them, reinforcing them for that relaxed position, whether you realize that's what you're doing or not, and then eventually, but not immediately, the dog slowly opens their legs for a fully belly rub, I'm cool with that. That's okay. Continue petting them. That's totally fine. That behavior is just a response to enjoying and relaxing into the massage you're giving your dog. And I'm all for rewarding calm behavior. But the leg has to open slowly and not immediately as soon as you touch your dog. It has to be a subconscious, if you will, response to the massage in the context of relaxation. This is not what I call belly up. This is not what I'm referring to today. And you can reinforce the behavior that does not belly up, the relaxation, at any time. All right, back to belly up. Belly up is always immediate and desperate, very energetic, in other words. I've seen dogs use the rollover, the belly up, for what appears to be an act of submission, always in the context of a dog that cowers a bit or lowers their wagging tail or urinates a little. I've seen dogs do that, but not very often. I have also experienced people assuming that this means the dog is scared when a dog rolls over. Let me tell you something right now. A scared dog will not expose its vital organs, folks. So that is also a myth. A scared dog hunches down and protects its vital organs and might launch a defensive move like biting. So just because a dog rolls over, they are scared. So that's also BS. For you in Rio Linda, that means bullshit. Okay, so I've seen the belly up behavior in dogs also, mostly during contexts other than submission. All right, so here's another example. I've seen the dogs that are otherwise very dominant and demanding of their owners belly up as soon as they are close by. Those owners who are close by, they're very dominant, they're very demanding, they're very spoiled, they're very whatever, the belly up, boom, as soon as the owners are close by. I've seen other dogs that belly up and then bite the one who tries to pet them. Yeah, a bait and switch. And I've seen it to the extreme degree where the dog actually bellies up and actually really bites the person, like punctures the skin. I've seen dogs belly up when you ask them to do something they don't want to do. They might even wail or scream in the process. I've seen dogs that are extremely insecure do the belly up behavior, overreacting to every effort that someone makes to get close to them. These are the same dogs that get extremely barky or nippy when they are nervous as well, i.e. there is no middle ground for these dogs in reaction to the universe. Everything is to the extremes. This is called insecurity. I've also seen the belly up behavior in the context of play, usually followed by an offensive move like nipping or holding a leg of another dog, engaging with the belly up dog. So the dog who's bellied up eventually then just goes and nips the other dog who's above them. So it's not really submissive. It's again another bait and switch. So because I've observed all of these contexts, my advice to dog owners has almost always been along the lines of don't reinforce the belly behavior, which means don't pet them, don't coo over them, don't give them eye contact, don't say, oh, that's cute, blah, blah, blah. Nada. I've also been criticized. Of course, for not recognizing what everyone else knows, that a dog that exhibits the belly up behavior is being submissive and it should be considered a good thing. Wrong, wrong, wrong. That's what everybody thinks they know is right. I'll tell you right now, it is rarely because of a submissive behavior. But I stand by my conclusion, by the way, based on experience and common sense, that the belly-up behavior is most often one that's purpose is for baiting the other creature, i.e., it's a manipulation and not an agreement. My little Scientific American magazine from last week, if you all have listened to that podcast, the fall 2015 issue, and add what behaviorists have actually discovered rather recently. So on page 40 of the fall 2015 issue of Scientific American, to make sure that everybody knows I got it from there, they tackle this phenomenon in the article entitled The Meaning of Belly Up. Pretty straightforward, I think. So it cites a study by Kerri Norman, Kerri, and colleagues at the University of Lethbridge in Alberta, Canada, as well as the University of South Africa. So we had two universities sort of working on this and sharing notes. Oftentimes, they found that rollover during play means, hey, don't take what I just did to you, i.e. tackle or mount or bite, as a super serious thing. But other times, what does the rollover belly up behavior mean? This was their question. This was their their investigation. The Norman team of scientists discovered that the rollover during dog-to-dog interaction was often a self-handicapping attitude, and that means position as well, to avoid misunderstanding, which is similar to what we just said, right? Hey, don't take this too seriously. I.e., a dog that perceived themselves as bigger, stronger, would roll over to accommodate the other dog whom they thought was weaker. So, listen to that. A dog that perceived themselves as bigger or stronger would roll over to accommodate the other dog whom they thought was weaker. So herein lies the interesting aspects of that dynamic. What if the rollover was unnecessary? Because the dog that rolled over, in human terms, has such a big ego about their status. That goes along with what I've observed with dominant dogs rolling over, right? It's not about submission. It's about kind of like baiting them into a situation when they know they already smell very dominant. So, would you not think that the one with the big head who thinks it must self-handicap is actually a very dominant or super confident dog? It could go either way depending on the situation. Okay, in fact, the scientists observed that the rollover maneuver was given to either, to quote, encourage play, to avoid a play bite which is defensive in nature, or deliver a play bite which is offensive, end quote. After observing several pairings of large dogs with small dogs, etc., they came to the conclusion that the rollover maneuver was used not only a defensive move to avoid a play bite, but also right after that a launching maneuver to go into an offensive, which is what I discovered as well in my observations. It was a tactic to disarm their play partner long enough to launch an attack, i.e., the rollover or belly up maneuver is not a submissive move at all, but a baiting or manipulation, i.e., you got suckered. This explains why so many owners have experienced their puppies growing into adult dogs who roll over and then chew pretty heartily on their hands when the owner makes contact with the dog. I have seen it turn into vicious attacks on rare occasions. You see it happen with cats on rats. As soon as they roll over, you touch their belly, they go for an attack. It can be very vicious. Cats are more likely to do that in an earlier age in a much more vicious way if you're not careful, if you don't respect the fact that the cat only wants a certain amount of touch. Dogs, they're going to be more tolerant of the touch, but it's going to be more, everybody's like, oh, it's so cute and da-da-da. And because it's in your brain that this is a submissive behavior and this is a good thing to reinforce, you're going to reinforce it over a period of time and eventually it's going to bite you in the butt. So, the reason this happens is because we mistakenly believe that the belly up behavior is an act of submission and is just so cute. I just said that. I just repeated myself. So this is what happens when I ad-lib after I, write something down. But that's basically it. We sort of set up our dogs to actually learn to manipulate us even more so than they already do. And don't tell me they don't, because that's what begging is. Believe me. So I might add, that those people who mistakenly believe that humans should not be dominant over their dogs still find some strange comfort in the moment that they believe their dogs are being submissive to them and they can't resist petting their dog in that position. Isn't that interesting? People are like, oh, you shouldn't be dominant over your dogs. But, oh, look, it rolled over and I'm going to rub its belly. It's being submissive to me. Wait a minute. I thought you didn't like that whole thing about being submissive, right? That's pretty hypocritical. So anyway, likewise, petting a dog doing a belly behavior immediately upon approach. So when you start approaching the dog just rolls over and exposes its belly, is encouraging this bait and switch manipulation of your dog. It can encourage them not only to play nip, eventually really hard, or to encourage